who was your first coach?
My first coach?
Yeah, what's your first, what I'm trying to get to is sort of the first memories of coaching.
My dad.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
In what way?
He taught me how to do all the sports, or literally kayaking. He threw me into everything. I wouldn't say he coached, but he definitely put me in situations and tried to help me and guide me.
So let's look at some characteristics, mate, that you remember from the early days, whether he was your coach, whether he wasn't your coach. What are your early sort of recollections of a coach?
Characteristics of a coach, of him especially, he said less and told me to do more. And that was quite good in terms of exploration into what my body was capable of.
Yeah.
So, but as a kid, right? So that's somebody who has no experience, has no idea what's going on. So just go in, try that. If that doesn't work, what happens then?
Yeah.
So in terms of, he looked a lot like in terms of what I was doing, and then like stepped in and helped out. So he's a mentor in the fact that he was a strong character.
When you were that was your first run coach at 12 years old, how aware of coaching characteristics do you think, like, it's probably quite easy now to sit back and reflect on the characteristics that you saw because you've learned so much along the way. But if you try and transport yourself back to that 12-year-old boy, what do you think resonated with you and motivated you to sort of, we dive back to those definitions to help you improve performance?
I think belief. He was, belief. So the running's fine, right? Because you're enthusiastic to run. Sometimes less so. You're a bit like, I can't be bothered tonight. Can't be bothered to get a 35-minute train to Hexham. But then once you get there, it's fine because you're there. You're with your run club and your people who you train with. And then his motivation to keep you on track in terms of giving you progress reports was really good. And then when you went into a race, he always had your back. And he always made you feel like positive about going into it.
How much of your time as a coach do you think you spend using your technical knowledge of training programs versus, I think what we've definitely vastly improved or increased the amount of tools that we have on more the emotional side in the last 2 or 3 years because everyone knows sort of why. But when you look at your coaching, mate, what is the split?
Was it, you said the other day actually, 80-20. 20% technical, 80%.
20% technical.
Yeah. I think it's a bit more than that. I would like to think it's a bit more than that. But yeah. I
think that's it.
Yeah, it could be. Because, a session's a session. Easy in strides is easy in strides.
Yeah.
An easy 2-hour aerobic ride is an easy 2-hour aerobic ride. You can give feedback. You've got your points that you pick out and you can track the measurement and the progress. But really, it's making sure that the person I look after, my athlete, is happy.
The third quality that you're looking for, it seems quite straightforward, but I've found sometimes it's lacking, especially when people, and it surprises me when people are paying for a service to get better, that honesty isn't as freely available as maybe it should be.
It's because there's barriers put up to protect their ego or their self-worth.
It's the first time we've said ego in 40 minutes, mate.
Go on then. Get it in there.
Amazing.
But yeah, honesty comes down to, there's lots of different types of honesty, right? There's honesty about a workout and how it went. There's honesty about why they didn't do the session. There's honesty about their sleep habits. There's honesty about their nutrition. And it's all built to protect this ego thing that sort of surrounds that. Avoidance, to be honest, is to protect themselves from accepting the truth.
We've all had, I think we can remember, and you rattled off your dad to start, and then your first coach there at 12 years old. Good coaches. What about some not so good experiences with coaches?
I haven't had that many coaches, really. There's a coach that took over from Dave who wasn't so good. He was too angry. He was too emotional. He couldn't control his own emotions, and then he couldn't therefore be a good coach. Fast
forward 5 years to wrap it up, mate, where we've spoken a lot about the impact of tech, whilst we've also understood that human connection, communication, and honesty is integral to coaching, and tech will not take it over. But do you ever think forward, where you're coaching, where you will be as a coach? I don't think I think about where. I think about what I am as a coach and how within that time frame I'll develop. I want to be better, like every day, every year. What does that look like though? Just keep asking questions. Keep being inquisitive of why you're doing what you're doing. Don't just settle for that's the way it's always been done, because that's the death of all coaching. That's rubbish coaching. Whereas if you look at what could be done differently, or why am I doing it, and question it, and then go and seek answers. Folks, if you like what this gentleman said, call him or mail him, rf@innerfight.com. all things coaching, all things honesty. He will listen, he will learn, and he'll hopefully teach you something. Mate, that was a very interesting 45 minutes. So I appreciate it. And I'm sure everyone that listened will also appreciate it. Thank you very much. Cheers.